that you're here by telling us your name and where you're joining from. Welcome to this mini conference. So a year ago, I decided to start a group. Okay, I decided to start a group where I can talk about my experiences, my journey as a parent, supporting my children. Okay, and that is because just before I decided to do this, I met someone who actually, for me, represents clarity and audacity. Okay, so when I met this person, before I met this person, I was high gold, yes. So before I met this person, I was just, I was a mother who had decided to be very, very intentional from the word go. So I was intentional about my children's academics. I was intentional about building their character and helping them live a full life. Okay, so before then I was still, I was still using a lot of tools, some of them good, some of them not so wonderful. Okay, I was still in that on that table where, okay, there's a good time to yell and there was a time not to yell, there was a time to give a bit of whooping, and all of that. So I was still on that table, even though I was intentional in every other way. Okay, and then I met this person. Okay, so our guest today, I dropped a post earlier on and said our guest today is Wendy Ologe. Now, Wendy Ologe is one person that doesn't need a lot of introduction, right? I'm sure at least 90% of the people here actually know this woman because I call her the queen of intentional parenting, right? She's the queen of intentional parenting. And yes, she is that person for me that represents clarity and audacity. I'll tell you a very short story about Wendy and I. Okay, so I got on this space. I was not even on social media. I got on the social media space, and my friend invited me to the Intentional Parents. And I joined the group, and then there was this lady every day. She was so, the audacity with which she came out to say, don't yell, don't beat, I'm like, okay. And then before I knew it, I listened to this woman one time, and by the next day, I was already applying some of the things that she said. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, there's a book. So I looked for Wendy. I looked for Wendy to get her book, Connect to Correct. I walked into her office and we talked for 1 hour. After 1 hour, this woman looked at me and said to me, MB, you're doing so much with the children. People need to learn. Parents need to learn from what you are doing. What are you doing? Put the message out there. So that's why I say to you, for me, this woman is clarity. For me, this woman is audacity. Before then, I was doing my thing on my lane. If I thought you needed advice, I would just push it somewhere. And then I was a teacher, the teacher who doesn't get to talk to the parents. You just deal with the children and try to make the children as good as possible. You don't want to go to the parents too much because you don't want to lose your job, or you don't want to be the one why the parents is pulling the children out of the school. So there wasn't audacity, even though there was so much you knew about the children and what the children should be doing. But of course, your audacity wasn't there because there was as much, okay? There was how far you could go. Enough talking. So I'm going to bring Wendy right on screen right now. So please, wherever you are, make a huge sound for my guest today as I introduce or I bring on screen the super energetic queen of intentional parenting, Wendy Ologe. Hi. She's my coach, she's my sis, she's my friend, she's my godmother. All. Good evening, Wendy.
Good evening so much. Thank you so much, Marybeth. I feel so honored to be here. This is my superpower, being able to speak to parents. I just love it. It's my natural habitat, like they will say. Thank you so much, Marybeth, for what you do. And I just love the fact that the name of this group says, being able to lead your children. Like, it's something that I find many people not, understand it. how they need to do it. And the fact that somebody stands up and says, "Hey, I can tell you people what to do. Trust me." Marybeth is the go-to person to go to when it comes to being able to, lead your children through mentoring and through finding that purpose really. And when you look at what she's been able to do with her son, amazing, awesome. I've had the privilege of speaking to him once or twice. And I remember one time that I was in a class, for young boys, and, he came backstage to come and chat to me. "Hello, ma'am. My mom has said so much about you." Oh, it was just awesome. So heartwarming. Oh, my goodness. I was like, oh, my goodness. Is that our
serious?
Oh, yes. And
I didn't know that.
Yes. And thank you so much for having me here.
All right. Okay, so Wendy, I know that a lot of people know you, but I think I have a few people who are just coming on this space for the first time. So if you just I mean, 2-3 lines, tell them exactly what it is that they can run to you for.
One line, the intentional parent, and that's all.
That's it too. That is actually what it is. Your name has become household name. It has become a household name in my home. I just say I am having a meeting with Auntie Wendy, and everybody knows that. Okay, you need to go. Like this one is a serious meeting. All right. So I am super excited to have you here. Thank you for the support in the group, behind the stage, and everything. All right. So today I said we're going to be talking about how to build building family connections. As a lot of times when we begin a family, at the back of our heads or at the back of our mind, we all want to build a connection that is strong in our family. But then again, a lot of things come or happen along the line, and we miss it, or we don't actually hit that target. So the first question I want to ask you is, in a family, what exactly is the role of a parent in a family?
What is the role of a parent in a family? That's actually a very interesting question. When we say what is the role of a family, the role of a parent in a family is everything. I like to describe parenting, using these words. You are raising another God. So the Bible says that we're going to be doing a lot of scriptures. I'm a Bible scholar, so hey, the Bible says that we are raising God, that we are gods. So he said, "Have you not heard that you are gods and you are the children of the Most High?" So when I think about parenting, I think about raising another God. The question that we have failed to ask consistently is, what does it really take to be able to raise another God? And the moment we're able to ask those questions, that's one of the things, that works, for you. So you need to ask yourself, am I everything that it is that can raise another God? Think of a God. Who is a God? What does it take to bring someone and say you're raising a God? When you think about it, then that's what parenting is about. You are that person who is everything to a child.
Wendy, a lot of times, right? A lot of times when we talk to parents, or when parents listen to people who try to tell them what their role is as parents, some parents listen, and they go home gingered, like, yes, now I know my role as a parent. But the next big thing is the how. As in, how do I begin? What are the strategies that I begin to use? How do I go about it? And then you try the first day, you try the second day, and then before you know it, after 1 week, you are back to stage one or wherever you were coming from. So what strategies would you share with us today? 2, 3, 4, 5, that you think, if as new parents, or as parents who have just decided to be intentional, or as parents who have decided to unlearn, what strategies would you say begin to employ for you to start seeing results?
The first thing that you need to understand is that intentions without skills and knowledge, it's nonsense. So your intentions are not enough. When you have intention to do something, to your best intentions, you must add skills, you must add grit, you must add knowledge. If you do not have these three things, then you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle because we're never going to be judged by our intentions. So you wake up today and you say, I have the intention to. It's the consequences of those intentions that will be judged with. So it's good to have all the best intentions. It's awesome. It makes a lot of sense. It's good for you to come to a stage and say, oh, I've learned this thing. I want to go home and do it. Life abhors vacuum. Whenever parents come to me and say, I want to learn how to parent without yelling, without hitting children, and then they say, I've thrown away the cane and I've stopped yelling. And then what are you going to be doing? That is the question. So a lot of the time, that is where the problem is, where we leave those vacuums of skills and knowledge. So the moment you decide that you've heard something and you want to go and implement without having the right knowledge, the tools, the skills, and grit to be able to carry it on, trust me, you will fail at it. You will fail at it because what you need is actually your ability to put those things in practice. What you need is skills. Nobody goes to a plane and says, I can fly a plane. Nobody. If you do not have what it takes to fly a plane, you will never be able to fly a plane. That's the truth. You need to go and learn how to fly a plane. The fact that you get to an airport and you see that planes are flying at a marvelous. For instance, I have a relative who's a pilot. My husband's first nephew is a pilot. He flies planes in Canada. I've seen him fly planes. So I'm not going to decide that, oh, wow, I love to fly planes and I've seen a fly plane. And then I get into the airport and I get into the plane. I'm going to crash. That's what a lot of parents do. And that is where the error comes from. If you do not have the right skills, the right knowledge, and grit to stay on, you will see that you struggle. You're constantly going to struggle. You will see yourself not being able to actually, actualize what it is that you have learned. So you keep wondering, why am I not able to do this? Intentions are not enough. You must add tools, add knowledge, add skills to it. At the moment you do that, you begin to see transformations. You can only, what you see that I shared, when people say, oh, I saw it on social media, I have a good laugh. I saw it on Google. I usually, there are some information, there are some, conversations that you don't find, in out there. Knowledge is a very prized thing. I usually say that if you think you can't pay for knowledge, then try ignorance. Knowledge is a highly. When you read in the Bible the parable of the 10 virgins, remember what the other virgins who didn't have oil were told? They told them, go and buy. And until we understand this concept of being able to go and get what is required by time journey, then we are going to continue in this circle. It's a circle. It's a circle. A circle of, oh, I just know what I'm going to do. Oh, I've just read something and I want to do it. I see a lot of people, they say, oh, I've read something, I just want to do it. Many of the times, you might not really be able to understand some of the things that go into those things. You need tools. You need a lot of things. I'm sure that your ability to lead your son to be able to find purpose has been a journey. It's not something that is on the internet. It's you, your son. It is something that you are going to be able to share your experience, with people. They now understand, what I tell people, my journey is not on Google. That's the truth. My journey. You find it, whatever you find, that's what you're going to find. I have a come preloaded with our own, preset solutions. That must be out there. And if people in the industry, people who are anywhere, I have a medical background, for instance. I know what it takes to be able to graduate. So it's you're going to study. So the moment we begin to look at parenting like a huge job, then we'll be able to do something differently. When you sit back and you say, Is it not parenting? Is it not just
Mm.
children? It is you putting a less, value on the most precious thing God has actually offered you in life. And I find that very, very. I'm just wondering how God is going to look at it, because I shared a webinar in my group, The Intentional Parent, recently. And I said, if we insist that we need to keep flogging children, we need to keep yelling at them, and then you now go on to go and say, oh, you want to keep yelling at them. And then when the president of America, for instance, tells you, please take my son. My son is having a particular, misbehavior. You're not allowed to yell, you're not allowed to beat, and I'm going to pay you 100 million. Will you learn the skills that will help you help that child? I
Of
the
course.
problem is that we have not actually put in a premium on the children that we have. So because of that, we're looking at it like, I just have the intention to practice it. Practice what exactly? You can't practice what you don't know. You can't give what you don't have. So the moment you get to a point where you have realized that, okay, I need to walk a journey, find skills, find tools, find knowledge, and learn how to, have grit. That's what is required.
Woo, 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 woo. You know this thing that you're saying, Wendy. It's valid and it's been. I mean, it's so old that I am wondering why there's no difference. It is so old. We all go to. I mean, you have some experience in banking. I do too. Before they would even allow you to touch a system in the banking hall, there has to be some level of training, isn't it? You must have some level. They send you to training school. After coming back from training school, they allow you understudy another person who has been in the system for a while, just so that you get a hang of what it is you're supposed to do, until they see that, okay, this one is now aware of what we're doing here. That's the only time you begin to attend to customers and do all of those things. And then yet for parenting there is absolutely nothing. We just give birth to children, and by virtue of the fact that we have given birth, we just go on and begin to nurture another human being, and people still argue with you, even among learned people. In fact, that's where it's even highest. People who are like high up there are the ones who argue the most about the fact that parenting should not be learned. Like, you people, your own is too much. You're making too much noise, isn't it? It's really now that you're saying it, it is hitting me all over again. How this thing is so old and yet we are not changing, or we're not doing anything about it.
Unfortunately, many of the parents do not even understand what the JD of being a parent is. So there is a job description of being a parent. How many of us have even been able to understand what this job description says? Now, that's actually where the problem is. So the problem is not, whether they know or they don't know. They know, but do they even understand what your job description is? If you understand your job description, you will be more scared. I think that's where the problem is. You will be scared. You will actually sit back and ask yourself questions. Am I really trained to be able to do this? Do I really have enough, skills to be able to do this? So it's because we don't understand what having a child means. We don't. That's also the same reason why you can do what you like on social media and think that is okay. The moment you become a parent, there are some privileges, there are some things that is lost on you. That's the truth. The moment you become a parent, so many things are lost on you. You won't be able, there are a lot of things you won't be able to do anymore. So you need to be ready. A lot of people are not even ready to be parents in the first place. So that's even where the challenge even starts from. The other day in my group, I was sharing a webinar, and I got to a point and I said, it's either you're ready to do this job or you're not. It's either you're ready to do this job or you're not. All right, so we need to stand up to it. There's a lot to be done. There's so much to be done.
There is actually. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so that's like one stage. I mean, people who are not even aware of this job description, those who do not understand yet that there's a need to learn. Now we have a group of people who have actually agreed that there's a need to learn. I've actually agreed like there's something to be done, there are tools to be learned and all of that. Now they have started this journey, but they are still confused as to how to connect, how to build that connection. How do you begin to create, I mean, that synergy, peace, and all of that in your home between you, the parents, and the children? How do you build connection?
The first things that I'm going to quote from my book, Connect to Correct, is my most favorite book of all times when it comes to parenting. Parenting is about you and not the child. Let me say that again. Parenting is about you and not the child. Parenting has nothing to do with the child. You are the parent. You are the one parenting. The child is not parenting. So it is all about you. And I usually say that if your parenting is not changing you, there's something wrong with your parenting. If you're on this journey, you're not seeing changes, you're not moving from point A to point B as an individual, then you are not, your effectivity should be checked. So parenting is about, what exactly it is that you are doing. It's about you. It's about the changes that is happening in you. When we talk about connection parenting, a lot of parents in Nigeria, unfortunately, want to control. Connection parenting is the opposite of control kind of parenting. For you to begin to even put a tool or put anything at all, you need to learn to connect. That's the bedrock of parenting. And in Correct to Correct, I also said that relationship trumps control in parenting. Relationship trumps control in parenting. It's control, okay? Oh yeah, it is he wanting, but it's not your focus. Your focus is relationship. The highest point of parenting is that parenting is a relationship between a parent and a child, where the parent is everything. You are a role model, you're a mentor, you are the disciplinarian, you are everything. You are everything to the child. Many times when I think about it, some of the people in our course, in our exclusive VIP course, will say, "Who even sent me to have more than 2 children?" As in, it's usually very funny when we have those conversations, because when you go in depth to understand a lot of the things that will happen and that should happen, you begin to realize that it's not a child's play. It's not child's play. So many times people say, "But I'm always with my children." My question usually is, always there doing what? The problem in parenting is not presence. I've said this over and again. The problem in parenting is not present. We have a lot of people that are physically present. The problem in parenting is, what are we present with? Are we connecting? Do we have the tools to connect? Unfortunately, a lot of the times, people do not have the tools. People do not know how to connect because they don't have the tools. So that's what now happens. The people who have the tools to be able to connect per time are able to connect with a child, spend 2 minutes, you spend your 2 hours. I have my 20 minutes. And at the end of the day, my 20 minutes will count more than your 2 hours. Do you know why? I am there, content and connection. It's not the same. I'm there with content and connection. If you're there without content and connection, you can spend 10 hours and your children will still have zero emotional love tank. Because you don't know what to do. That's where knowledge comes in.
You come back to knowledge.
Where you and what to do. What to do. It's not just giving you do. Yeah, we know that. That's the basics. Always been there doing what is the question. Your content, your tools, your connection. Today I was going to share something. Facebook popped up a picture, all right, of the twins when they were leaving nursery school and going to primary school.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the pictures. Awesome. My daughter was the one that read the valedictory speech from nursery to
Aw.
primary. I was looking at the video, the pictures and everything. She's been pretty good with reading all the while. So I called them. We were watching it, talking, and my son said something to me. I remember this day. Wow, I just remember. I was like, what exactly do you remember about this day? And he said two things. I remember that you left work to be able to be there from the beginning of that event to the end. You and dad. I remember that my bow tie and the first dress was made by the two of you right in the home.
I used to.
We made them in the home, my husband and I. So when people say, "Oh, I'm busy," oh, this one, that one, I have a good laugh. I don't think you're as busy as I am. So that's even a conversation. So we sat down and we made this dress, made the dress I wore, made the dress my daughter wore, and then to just be similar, and then made a bow tie to match with whatever it is that the twin sister was wearing. I have a set of twins. They are 10, currently, and I also have a foster daughter that is 28. 27, yeah. So, whenever, so she was like, it was like, I knew how you guys didn't sleep the previous night because you wanted to make sure that it was all amazing. I couldn't have, even thought that my son at 5 could remember that thing very vividly. Vividly. He was so vivid, to describe it, describe his style, describe the efforts we put in to make sure. I could have gone to a shop to buy, I can afford it, to buy whatever dress it was, or whatever tie it was, but we just wanted to make it memorable. And today, when you said it, I felt good with myself. I was like, wow, this is just awesome. The question you need to ask every time, whenever you are there, what will your children remember you for?
What memories are you creating?
Remember you for? What memories are you creating today? How are you creating these memories? Or are you just there thinking that just doing nothing or just doing anything anyhow is going to just make this work? As little as this thing I have shared with you, there's somewhere it is engraved in the memory of the twins that they are the most important thing ever that can happen to us. We didn't have to say it. We didn't have to sit them down to lecture. You people are so important to us. That's why we work hard. No, that singular thing that we did, that's what happens when you know what to do for time. That singular thing that we did was, it was our broker for that period. So you remember the stories, your children will tell. What would they tell about you? What kind of stories would they tell about you? How would they perceive you? And now, one of the problems is that parents, look at intentional parenting and think that it is one way that you just want to cross over. It's just something that you just want to allow your children do anything. I've said it over and again. My children are not allowed to do anything they want to do. If you know me personally, you will know that when it comes to school, part of the things that come to my son, my daughter, every time, year in, year out, is being very well behaved. So there's nothing like, oh, the children are going to be unruly because nobody's flogging them. Please, that is not the question. So the question you need to ask yourself every time is, what words, when your children go out there, what words will ring in their head? What would they remember? Are they just going to remember you just shouting all over the house and just, correcting everything that they do? Are they going to remember something as simple as you being awake to make a dress that you've just learned how to do? I just learned how to do it. And I decided I was going to try my hands on it. As busy as I am, and my children recognize how busy I am, yet, see how much effort I put in to be able to be there, with content and also be able to connect. So the question you must ask yourself today is, what will my children remember me for?
Well, now that you said it, I'm just laughing because I remember I actually went to learn to sew at some point, and The only thing that I made that today we can still pick and wear is actually a pair of trousers for myself and a little and a little pinafore kind of skirt for my daughter. And we took a picture together, like we twinned. So I use that picture a lot. You see it that we're twinning. I made that together, and she's never forgotten it.
Mm.
She's never forgotten it. Every time she'll be like, "Mommy, can we go and take more pictures?" I like, "Can we take pictures again? Can we twin? Can you make another dress for us so that we can twin?" So now that you're saying it, it's it's actually, hitting me again how the little things that we do, okay, can
Yes.
mean so much and can leave an indelible mark in the life of our children. Okay, and these are the things. Finally, I say life itself is a pack or is a collection of memories. That's what life is, isn't
Mm.
it? At the end of the day, I mean, for some of us that have lost one parent, all that I have to remember, I mean, if I have to talk about my father today, all that you'll be hearing are the memories that I have of him. That's what he actually is. So life itself is a collection of memories. So eventually, when you're not there, what your children are going to remember about you is actually the memories that you have been able
And
to
Marybeth,
create.
even when you're there,
Exactly,
interestingly, the
exactly.
memories are still going to be here because sometimes I'm sitting here. Someone comes and spoke to me recently and asked me, "Why is it we're five in my family?" And he said, "You guys work so hard. That in you like hard work is like a thing." And I said, "I remember my father echo it in our heads. Whatever you find your hands to do, never be ashamed of it, provided it's not illegal." And
Hmm.
it echoes in my head every minute of the day. And the five of us work, we work so hard, like we work hard. And anytime I remember it, those words are always in my head. Always. Your children are
Hmm.
going to hear your words, not just the things that how you're shouting and jumping. What
Hmm.
what seeds are you sowing? Seeds are words are seeds. What seeds are you sowing? They're going to germinate at some point.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. Wendy, you've mentioned more than once. You've mentioned more than once how you have a foster daughter, and well, it wasn't like she was in your life right from when she was a little child. We can talk about your twins and say, okay, you mothered them from the beginning. But this other person, you did. I mean, sorry, let me use her name. What's her name so that I don't call her this
Naya,
other person?
if Naya,
If Naya, yes. So for if Naya now, you didn't have to, I mean, you weren't there from the very beginning. All of a sudden, you had some child in your hand. Now we have parents who have situations like this. I mean, we come on social media and we hear of people who beat children, make marks on them, and all the horrible things. And a lot of times, these are children that just come and become a part of our families when they're like 5, 8, 10, 15, and all of that. What word do you have for a young parent who finds herself in or his or herself in this kind of situation? How do you go about it? Where do you start from? How do you handle it? How do you build connection with that child that is not your Ife or Ayo?
I will permit me to say, you can start by hiring Marybeth to help you to be able to work. At least now that we have someone who is deep with that, but seriously, it's a lot of work. Many times you might actually need someone to be able to hold you by the hand and then walk you through it. The truth of the matter is that if you have someone who can hold you by the hand and walk you through it, it makes it a lot more easier. If you do it all by yourself, one of the problems with trial and error when it comes to parenting is that you're going to make mistakes that are not, you might not be able to actually deal with, and you might not be able to undo it. There are some things that I would have done better with our foster daughter. And today, if someone had actually directed me, I could have actually been able to do it better. Now, our journey started as a parent coach because we had suddenly had a teenager in our hands that we were going to parent. One of the things that I saw myself doing was that I was parenting the normal way, controlling, shouting, jumping up and down, and I've not always been like this. I like to tell parents, I've not always been that parent who wants to. I have fire, plenty of it. I had it. Plenty of it. But you know, at some point, I realized that I was not making progress.
It's not by fire.
I was struggling. The struggle was real. So real. All the jumping up and down, nothing was working. And I asked myself, it means that there must be another way. There must be something else. It can't just be like this. This all false and let us box. It cannot work like this. There has to be something else. That was what led me to this journey. When I did it, I made magic, literally, with her. Currently, she helps parents who have special needs children. She's a psychologist. Studied psychology in Maduna, came out tops of her class, went to NYC, came out tops in NYC, won national award in Nigeria from the NYC platform. And, you know, she's done so well that we are anytime, any day proud of. All right. By the time she was leaving her state of assignment during NYC, they were all dragging her everywhere, stay back, job here, there, here, and there. And then, you know, she had to actually, you know, get back. She came back with awards, plaques that were in a bag. Her bag of plaques actually came in, you know, before she could come in. You know, so it's been a wonderful journey with her. And today she specializes in special needs. So she does awesome job on Instagram. We are the old people. She tells me that we are the old people on Facebook. So her account on Instagram doing so awesome, you know, with it. One of these days I'm going to be able to also bring her up on the group to be able to, you know, speak to special needs parents. And so for me, it's about fulfilling purpose when it comes to raising a child. And in fact, one of the things that, you know, happened when Marybeth was launching this her book, I told her that there are no people in this space. We need people who can push out this narrative that we can actually help our children find purpose. You know, so today we can make bold to say our foster daughter has been able to find purpose. She works, she does her special needs stuff. She even runs a foundation on it as well. And you know, so many times where when we talk about her, yeah, I am proud. So when I tell you that intentional parenting works, there's no gainsaying. So when people say, so where's the result? I tell them I have more than enough proof. And you know, why we were trying to raise our foster daughter in that, you know, time, my youngest brother, who I'm 10 years older than, also, you know, happened to, you know, come stay with me. And in the process, recently we were talking, he told me, he said, in your parent coaching, I should be your first guinea pig. You are the one that cried with me first. Because all my decisions through my life, I saw that you were able to influence them without forcing yourself through. And tomorrow, my youngest brother will not do anything without consulting me. Nothing at all. And that is not because I control. It's because I support. And I'm just able to connect. His friends are in my house and we're able to play. If Naya's friends come into the house and everybody's shouting, mommy, mommy, we're all there playing cards and doing something with them. Everybody's excited. And, you know, everybody, and then they are able to connect with me, you know, in a better way. There are times that either our foster daughter or my younger brother will have issues. Sometimes my younger brother will say, you are the only one I can call on the phone and cry to. Your children should be vulnerable to you, extremely vulnerable, and cry to and say, this is what is wrong with me. So if my younger brother wants to, currently he works in an NGO and, you know, works in a very good high paying job. So there's nothing he's getting from me to be able to actually do whatever it is that I tell him. But you find him being able to come back to me because a connection has been built. You don't force people through. And I was having a conversation with parents in one of our courses, and I was sharing about our foster daughter. And, you know, I was saying that I've been able to influence our foster daughter so much. Let me tell you some very funny connection things that I have been able to do in the past. Okay, so we traveled one time and we shopped. After shopping, my foster daughter turns and says that please that she will not buy gin in the abroad. That's how she said it. That she's going to go buy gin. That the gin here is not just. I said, okay, no problem. You go to that. Okay, jeans are better. You see the way she was even doing it. I said, okay. We got back. And the next one, I said that she was going to want okay shopping, blah blah blah. I decided to follow her. Me, yours truly. I packed my bag. We drove very far so that we could walk to the place where the okay was happening. I went there, down, we bent down. She even selected the ones that I can wear. I said, Mommy, see, this one, you need to be able to wear this one like this. I didn't like it, to be sincere with you. But because I am a parent, in that moment, I needed to wear that clothes. It was part of my plan. I needed to wear it. I wore the clothes so that I will be able to connect. And I tell you, some of these things I've been able to do have helped me be able to connect with her in a very dramatic way. Very, very dramatic way. And I've been able to influence her life so positively in so many things. So many things. She's getting married. Her traditional rites have actually been done already. And, we're waiting for the white wedding. And even in her choice, the way that she's been able to go, we've had so much great influence, not by shouting down or by trying to control her all the time, but by just connecting, doing very seemingly. Does it mean that I don't insist when she does something wrong? I do. She knows that I'm also very strict on a lot of things, but she also knows that she can come to me to be able to actually, have conversations on very, sensitive and serious matters. And, that has worked so much. And when it comes to raising other people's children, you need to raise yourself to the point where you are actually today. In fact, recently, my one of the twins, my son, was saying, "Oh, okay, so I've never actually seen my sister's biological parents, and I'm wondering, are they alive?" So there's no, she's not even able to connect with her biological parents anymore. So because of the way that we've been able to make, it's home. So home should be home. Home should be for any of your child. Home should be home. If my children go out even to a shopping mall, they are saying, please, I want to be going. I'm tired. Please, please, please. You need to make your home. Yes, you need to make your home. We travel. My children will say, please, I want to go back. I'm tired of staying here. I just want to go to our house. So it's not just the house. It's about the home. What you have put in. What happens in that home that makes the children, all right? If that makes the children, to be able to actually have that home, situation, have it in a very loving environment. So when we talk about home, a home should be where every single child, you need to come to my house during Christmas. I have my foster daughter's friends around. I have my younger brother's friends around. And my house is like, yeah, everybody everywhere is jumping and all that. My husband and I actually have made our home in such a way that people get in and they don't want to leave. When you get to my home, you don't want to leave my home. It's not a thing. It's when you get to my home. Even children, my friends' children come to my home for sleepover. They don't want to go home. They don't want to go home because we have deliberately. It's a deliberate thing. Deliberately made our the way we want it to be to make our children comfortable. So if you must connect and if you must be able to mentor another child, another parent's child, another parent's child, and someone else, please get the required skills that you will need. Get the required skills that you will need. It's not a walk in the park. I am not here telling you that it was easy for me to stand up and raise another person's child like my own. No, it's not a walk in the park. It was something that I needed to build skills on several things. Skills on ability to accept that person irrespective of what happens. To the point that you know that this is you have it. Like my husband will say, you signed the document. Now this is your foster child. So what do you want to do? You get to that point, the same thing with your children, where you're looking, at yourself and you've gotten to that point where you are actually looking at things holistically instead of just saying, "Oh no, this is just it." So look at, for instance, Marybeth's book. In fact, I personally have ordered copies that I want to give out myself.
Yes, so copies.
I want parents to be able to understand that whatever happens to their children, they are the ones. They are the ones. So I can make magic with a 16-year-old that have come to become, start to be parented by me at 16. Then anybody can do anything. That's me. For children that you give birth to, you can transform your children to become anything. The onus lies on you. It is in your hand. It's not in the hands of anybody. It is in your hands. You get to a point where those children just want to please you naturally. My foster daughter wants to please me without me having to jump about. I don't need to jump about. Even my children thoughts on me, I don't need to shout. Naturally, in fact, I've been in the office for a while. It was my daughter who brought a plate of food for me. I said, "Oh, you've worked so hard and then you haven't even eaten. Can you just have something to eat?" You need to, and it is in what you show your children, that is what they will be able to do for you. Because if you don't show it to your children cannot do it for you. So you need to be able to show your children how you want to be treated. So you need to actually treat your children the same way. And the moment you do that, it's easy. Your children just naturally align. When you're able to teach skills. You see this discipline topic we're always jumping about. Where if we're able to teach skills, you won't jump about. You won't jump about with it. You will not. When you teach what is required, when you teach the things that is embedded, then you will not have to struggle. The struggle becomes really, really less.
Yeah. Whoa. This is so huge. One day I was talking to a friend, we were having a conversation not too long ago, and she actually said something that was remarkable. She said, whatever you do, make sure that your home doesn't stop being a home to your child. And it's the same thing you're saying here. Whatever it is that you do, make sure that when your child comes home and steps into your house, the child is able to heave a sigh of relief, like, finally, I am home. Because we have cases where children can't just wait to get out of our doors. We have cases like that,
Yeah.
where your children are just waiting for the day that they say you got admission so they can pick their bag
Let
and
me
run away.
let me tell you one very funny thing. We practically had to school our foster daughter to say, "You need to actually get married. Don't you think so?" Because she kept just saying, "Please, oh, I mean, my father does, anybody that doesn't like it, please, oh, I beg, oh, I'm not going to do it." She was just, her level of comfort. In fact, she even says it. She said, "Please, I'm okay. There's nothing. I beg, oh." In fact, we're not having the conversation. She was like, eh. In fact, currently, they've done her right, and we're like, "So have you guys got in the house? Have you guys?" She said, "Please, that she's not even in a hurry, I beg." And whenever in the next 1 year, I said, "You will not get married and be in my house." So constantly we're practically now chasing her out of the house. She will say, "Whatever you are chasing, you can only talk. I will be here. My room is here locked. When I come, I open it and enter." So you just need to be able to make home, and then the children don't make mistakes because the home is not comfortable. The moment your home becomes uncomfortable, it becomes a challenge. It becomes a challenge for your child, and your child begins to just look for how to take off. That happened in our generation. And a lot of us just take off. Once you just get admission, you just
couldn't wait. Let's go.
And in all this that I'm saying, are your children going to make mistakes? Yes. Trust me. Do my children make mistakes? Oh, plenty of it. If you've ever been in any of my classes, you will hear me stories. My story is actually what I used to teach. So my children make lots and lots of mistakes. But the thing is, how do I react to those mistakes? Because I've realized that one of the things that we do in parenting is that we wear this infallibility nature. We tell ourselves that we cannot fail. So we project infallibility to our children. Our children, in turn, understand that they have perfect parents. So when they make mistakes, they go to the people who can accept them.
Yeah.
So the moment you do not think that you are infallible. In fact, that's the first thing that I want anybody who is listening to me to actually be able to respond today. The infallibility. You know those things that our parents said, I came first. I was the best child. I didn't do anything wrong. It is a lie. It is all a lie. It is all a lie. Don't find yourself in the web of lies as well. You need to model vulnerability to your children. Model vulnerability. You don't want to hear the kind of conversation I've had, with my foster daughter. Model vulnerability. You need to understand that, and that has helped her in her own journey. So as I'm modeling my vulnerability, I'm sharing my story. She's been able to, make corrections, lead her own story. So it looks as if now that her life just looks one perfect, well-made life. Even in my mind, I'm like, Kai, I envy some of you, But that's it. You need to model vulnerability. Whether you're a man, you're a woman, that's one thing that my husband and I, have been able to do over the years. Model vulnerability to these children. They've made several mistakes. I don't even want to share with you the kind of mistakes that our foster daughter have made in the past and how, we've been able to handle it. But a lot of it, have been teaching instead of just trying to, fight something that, will result at the end of the day. This all that happens is your ability to actually model vulnerability to your children. Yeah.
Wow, awesome, ma'am. Wendy, while you were talking, I couldn't help, not missing. I couldn't help noticing this, right? You said your foster daughter, she went for NYC in school. She did, she came tops, went to NYC and all of that. There's this thing as parents, we just, people just conclude that there are some children that are just excellent. There are children that are just brilliant. So sometimes when you try to talk about your experience, or you try to share your experience, people want to just wave it and say, oh, it's because so and so child is just brilliant. This one is just brilliant. This one is just smart. So you don't have to struggle. Okay. And from what you're saying, all I can get is positioning. When you position a child, it doesn't matter where the child is coming from. It doesn't matter whether the child was Olodo before. It doesn't matter whether the child was struggling before. When you create the right environment, you position the child, and then you become the mentor that is modeling. There is a chance that these children will, as in there will be a turnaround, isn't it? So did you notice some sort of turnaround somewhere in your journey with her, so that parents can
Oh,
learn that no child
most definitely. So our foster daughter came to our house pretty raw. When I say raw, I mean
wow.
raw. Completely raw. There were lots of rough edges. And I think that was part of where, my frustration was from.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if you understand what it takes to be able to lead, someone into that space, you will make magic. There's no two ways about it. There's no two ways. And Marybeth, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to be able to teach parents how they can mentor their children, irrespective of who it is and where the child is coming from, to be able to, lead the child to find purpose. If you understand helping a child find purpose, once you can understand that, then you have a bingo in your hands. If you can understand that everything you're doing in your life, you want to help your child find purpose, then you have everything it takes to be able to lead your child. So it takes a lot for you to be, able to actually do that. And a lot of the times it is because parents don't understand what it takes, what they need to do to be able to transform that seeming olodo, in quotes, into the person that person, should be.
Excellent.
One of the things that I tell people is that we don't even understand who we are parenting. And until you ask those questions, you're never going to actually be
Until you
able
understand the person.
until you understand the person you're parenting. Let me tell this story, as we begin to look at this and then questions. When Samson was going to be born, Manoah, the father of Samson, didn't have a child. So the angel came and said, Samson is going to be born. When they give birth to Samson, because I know that a lot of us want to relate back to the Bible and say, spare the rod, do this. Let me also share
Let us relate to.
that resonates, your role, and so that we're not putting things out of context.
Yeah.
The Bible, said, the angel went to the woman and said, oh, you're going to have a son. The son is going to be named Samson. The woman was so excited. Like many of us, when we get pregnant, we just get excited and just jump. Wow! She just came and announced to the husband, we are having a son. He's going to be mighty. He's going to be this. The husband was calm. And the husband said, everything that you said now, did you ask this angel? What are we going to do to be able to make this child be mighty? What are we supposed to do? Is it just to say, oh, the child is mighty? What is our role? The woman said, I didn't ask. Manuel went back to go and pray to God and say, send back the angel to me. So please come and tell me what it will take to raise a Samson. The angel came back. In fact, I like to study the Bible beyond what is written. I went further to study, and the theologians actually said that the angel told Manuel to the point of, what it is that they need to
do.
They need to eat.
Okay.
Yes, the Samson need to eat to be able to become the Samson that we were able to actually reckon to. Now, what did Manuel do differently? He went to find out who he was going to parent. This is where our problem is. We are not finding out who we are parenting. We don't even know the child's personality. You don't even know the child's learning style. Most of the children that they say are low dose are probably that their learning style does not fit into the system. I know called Understanding Your Child's Learning Style. Many times when parents take that course, they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know. Oh, so this is what I've been doing, beating my child just because I don't understand how my child learns. If you do not understand how a child learns, the child will turn out to be a lodo now. It's a simple thing because the child is not going to learn the way you are learning. So do you understand the child's love language? There are children that you love from now till tomorrow. They feel unloved. Why? You're not speaking their language. You're not speaking their language. So do you understand how to love that child? Do you understand how exactly to love that child? For instance, my son, you do one day and my son does not have a physical touch with you. There's a problem. You don't love him now. So you need to understand how exactly you need to love each child. Meanwhile, it's not the same for my daughter. How do you exactly love each child? Do we even know who we are parenting? It's food for thought for us. Do you know what you know about the child that you're parenting? Stop quoting all the spare the rod thing and you're just using it to exchange your job for the real thing that you should be doing. The real thing that you should be doing. You're telling me, oh, you need to not spare the rod. So all the rod that we've not been sparing, what has happened? Look around us. What exactly?
Exactly. We've not spared the rod our parents didn't spare the rod at all. Oh. They didn't spare it at all.
We're here using
but
technology.
The society, I see.
Of the people that rod was spared on. And we're not able to do this conversation on spare the rod.
Oh God! Wendy, in the book of Bedtime Story for Champions, I actually said somewhere there that every child needs that one person, at least one person that believes and sees what it is that lies within them for that thing to be brought out. So you need that one parent, and it is a gift that a child gets one visionary parent or a visionary significant adult in the child's life, because that's all that it takes to make a difference. The same child you have in your hand, the same Ifunanya you have in your hand could probably have been with Mr. B and nothing. You won't come close. Do you understand?
I agree.
You won't come close. So it's a function of positioning and the adult or the significant adult in the child's life being able to sit and quieten the noise so that you can help the child be. I say this thing, I was saying you gave me clarity. For me, I was like, I was some sort of a child in your hand because yes, I had been a teacher. I had worked with children. It was only after I met you and we started talking that I realized a lot of noise that has been happening to me. I was that teacher that I could actually, I don't, when I send a communication note home, I don't go, the day was nice. I sit down there and I break down what it is that I saw in your child and all of that. And so I was bigger on your relationship, connection, and what it is that you could do as a parent to support me as a teacher for us to help the child find his place. And I was that teacher that you could come into my classroom and one child is working on page 1, the other one is working on page 20, the other child is on page 54. I don't care. I find what the child wants at the time. So it was only after I met you that I realized, oh, Mary, this wasn't for you. It wasn't about math and English per se. It was more about the totality of the child. And just like you gave me clarity or you helped me begin to look in that, silence all this other noise so that I could focus. It's the same way our children need that adults that can help them silence all the noises around so that they can dig in and become that wholesome person that God created them to be right from the beginning. Thank you so much, Wendy. It is always a delight to listen to you. I don't ever get tired listening to you. And this has been an amazing, amazing, amazing session. Okay, I'll just throw a very last question that we'll use to go away. I can see, we can tell, from the stories, from what we see and all of that following you, we can tell that you have been able to form a team in your home. You have created a space where even when Ifunaya goes away, gets married, she can actually come back anytime, any day. If Fair has someone she needs support, she can actually call Ifunaya and she'll be there. Sometimes we have families and we think that because we are related, by virtue of that fact, there will be a connection or there will be that synergy, but it's not always the case. Some families, as children grow, you find that everybody just finds their space and they go away, and that's it. That connection was not strong enough for them to form a team that they can rely on for a lifetime. 2 tips on how we can how we can create that kind of synergy that helps us create a team for a lifetime. Let's close with that.
So the synergy you're talking about is the synergy of being able to synergize with the children and also your spouse.
Yes, so that you have a family that at any time you obviously can depend on each other. Of course, it has some level of connection would have happened for you to get there.
I think one of the things is that assumption is a killer on our journey.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. We assume so much on our parenting journey. We assume that siblings are going to become love themselves, just like that. We assume that children are just going to love parents because they are your parents. That's not true. There are a lot of children who don't love their parents. They just want to just be there because you are their parent. There we have cases where we just think, oh, because your siblings, which was also part of the errors that our parents made. Your siblings, so you should just love each other. That's not true. There are a lot of siblings today who do not love each other. They are just there. We are related. No problem. Since we are related, let us just continue, this thing. But incidentally, some of these things that we keep doing are the things that will, not make us be able to build these deliberate relationships that we need to build. One thing that you must take home today is that every one of it is a journey, and that you must deliberately build each one of these relationships to make it what it is that you need it to be. Do you have a family value system? In my own home, there's a mission crafted. There's a value system crafted. You want to hear? Our mission is to be able to change our world using the things that God has given us. And for every one of our children, they understand this. And we're not just saying it. We're not just saying it. They can see my husband and I living it. My husband is into marriage coaching. I do parent coaching. We do other things that are businesses. But being able to use whatever it is that we have to be able to change our world is a watchword for us in our home. It was the same reason why our foster daughter was able to get into NYC and decide, I want to make a change. Our NYC project was not just anything. It was a change. It was geared towards a purpose. That's why it got so much accolades, from the state governor, from the presidency. It was geared towards, something, a change, a purpose. So does your children even understand, what these things is? There are a lot of things that build family together. Time, presence. Remember, I have said before that presence is not just about being there. Presence is about being there with content and connection. If you do not have these two, you're just there wasting your time. Another thing that you must also remember is that your value system that you live and your mission as a family binds a family. The point is, how do you also put out this value system? Are you living it? Yeah. Another thing that you must also remember is that your biggest joker when it comes to parenting is role modeling. Role modeling is your biggest joker. The moment you say this is what it is, we have a media plan, for instance, in my home, and that media plan said, as soon as I'm done with this class, I'm going to shut down my laptop, shut it down completely, shut down my phone until the children go to bed. That's when I'm going to pick up this. And because they know that I'm going to be in this class from 7 to about 8 and a few minutes after 8, they understand the timing. I have this conversation. They understand I'm connected with them. So they understand I have conversations with them instead of trying to bring down my home and make it uncomfortable for everybody. We have conversations with them. If we have media plans and there has to be any shift, I have conversations with them. If there have to be any shift for them, they have conversations with me. So they understand that I'm not also on a perfect journey. I'm building my relationship deliberately with everybody. And most importantly, we are also ensuring that the children build a relationship with themselves. I'm not afraid of dying today. I say it again. I'm not afraid of dying. If I do, I've been able to actually groom them to the point where they understand what it is that they need to do per time. I'm not afraid. Not afraid at all. So people will need to understand that fearful parenting is not the way to go. People are, if I die, you're still thinking if you die, your children will suffer. Go back and go and review what you've done. Go back and go and review what you have done. If I die today, nah, I'm not in that realm at all. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. So you need to get to a point where you are actually thinking these things through. If I'm not here with my children, what happens? What happens to the family circle? What happens with them and their siblings? What happens around them? Currently, if the children can live with my foster daughter, with their sister comfortably without me batting an eye and having the kind of value system that I would have instilled. They can live with my brother comfortably, having the same kind of value system that I have instilled. I'm not afraid one bit. The moment you begin to use fear on your parenting journey, then there's a problem. I usually say caution, not fear. Caution, not fear. If you do fear, you're going to make a mess of your journey. Caution is the word and not fear. Thank you very much, Marybeth.
Thank you so much, Wendy. All right, parents, that is it. So I told you that this place was going to explode. Thank you so much, Wendy. There's been a lot you said today. If there's nothing else you have gotten from this class, parents, please take away that. What you model. I use modeling and mentoring interchangeably. Okay, being a mentor or being the model for your child trumps a lot, because when you model, they don't have to struggle. They have just seen and then they will act. they see more. What they see is more effective than what they hear. Thank you so much, ma'am. I am so grateful that you made this time. Sorry we had to stretch it a little. Thank you for making this time to be with us today. We do not take it for granted, and thank you for pouring so much knowledge this evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Marybeth. And I also want to say thank you for all you do. And because there's a lot to be done when it comes into the mentorship space. In fact, today I still was on the phone with Marybeth, and I said to her, I hope you're not going to go to sleep when you're done launching this book, because our system needs to, get a lot of this book. We don't have enough. We don't have enough. So there's no room to slack. There's no room to just sit around the corner. You need to get on this and push it. If you do not have a copy of that book, on my honor, I'm telling you to get that book. You need that book. Many times is in the stories of others that we begin to make the children. Is in the stories. I say that wisdom is in the stories of others. Wisdom is not in the stories that you tell. Your wisdom is not enough on this journey. So forget what it is. Your wisdom alone is not enough. You need, what people have been able to. Once you are able to verify whoever it is that you are able to. I'm not for being everywhere and following everywhere, and but I am for when you get that. For you to be in this group, it means that you trust what Marybeth is doing. So I am for the fact that if you trust that Marybeth is doing a good job, and which of course I will 100% say that she is. I've been able to work with her for quite a while now, and I tell you, she knows her onions. That's the truth of the matter. If you don't have a copy, buy. If you have bought for your friend, buy for your friends. That's one of the things that I'm not getting just one copy. I'm getting copies because when I see something that needs to be pushed out there, my children are 10. If you have less than, they're still going to read it, and when they are done, I'm going to give out more and let people be able to get it in there. There's a lot of rubbish out there being written outside of our kind. So much rubbish out there. Please be careful what you give your children to read. It's very, very important that you're just not sitting around the fence and just saying, oh, the Nigerian authors. Please, if you have the verified Nigerian authors, go listen to their stories. They are the ones that have been able to actually infuse one of the things that we've been able to do. One of the things that I did was to be able to infuse whatever it is that I've seen out there, and be able to infuse it with our client, which is something that wasn't there before I came into the space. And please, make sure that you're constantly following. And moreover, I see my people right here in the comment section. I see you go. Chinyere is a sex coach and sex education coach for children. Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you. I call them my yard people. There's different my yard people. They follow me everywhere. Thank you, my yard people, for following me once again. I need to appreciate you all. I don't take it for granted. And thank you, Marybeth, for this opportunity. I like to talk. So if you leave me, I'm going to actually keep talking because I just love to. Especially, I love to talk to parents.
All right. Thank you so much, Wendy. And then everyone here, I hope you have registered for the Intentional Parenting Conference. That conference changed my life. I mean, in different areas last year. Please, you need to register if you haven't to register. I mean, Wendy does a lot of many other things that I'm sure a lot of us know here. I mean, she has the book Connect to Correct. If you have not read that book, I read that book like a Bible. So if you have not read that book, please get a copy. I mean, and then if you have not joined the group Intentional Parenting, you're losing. Let me see. So just check on Facebook and then you will hear the rest there. Thank you so much once again, ma'am. Thank you, and have a lovely, lovely night.
You too, Marybeth. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So thank you, everyone who made time to join today. Thank you. I hope you had a great time. I hope you can, whatever it is that you have gotten from here, you can take, as I said before, we're going to give value in biteable chunks, right? So we can take them, apply them, and begin to make a difference in the life of our children and the people around us. So thank you for making time to be here. Have a lovely, lovely evening. Bye.